Well, it looks like we've got everyone who's going to hop in here today. So I just want to, first of all, thank you for joining us. My name is Tyler Ford. I currently serve as Director of Mentors with tnAchieves. Really appreciate you making the time to be here. It is a small crowd, so if you have any questions throughout today's presentation, please don't hesitate to let me know and ask those questions. I'm going to go through these slides. I'm going to present some data on the work we're doing in Cannon County and how we're impacting students. But please feel free at any time to unmute yourself or post in the chat and ask those questions because, again, we're certainly happy to take those. But really the purpose of today's meeting is just to spend about 10 or 15 minutes giving you a quick update on the progress we're making in Cannon County and the work tnAchieves is doing to support your students. And that's really where I want to start off today. It's just by quickly sharing a little bit of an update on, or a reminder rather, on who tnAchieves is and the work we're doing in your community. So tnAchieves is a privately funded nonprofit organization that serves as the partnering organization to Tennessee Promise in 90 of the state's 95 counties. And what that means essentially is that we're administering the scholarship in those communities. We are working to make sure students are meeting their deadlines, meeting their requirements to stay Tennessee Promise eligible. Currently, we have, since the program's inception in 2008, served more than 440,000 students across the state. We've worked with more than 71,000 volunteers since the program's inception. And each and every year, we've got the opportunity to work with more than 600 high schools across the state and 67 eligible institutions. So the scope of our work is really pretty vast, especially over the past 10, 12 years as we've grown the program across the state. Just to give you an idea on some of the components of our program, there's of course the Tennessee Promise piece. This is the last dollar scholarship, probably really the banner piece of our work. It's available to all Tennessee high school seniors, and it gives them the opportunity to pursue a community college, a technical school, a 2-year education, and do so tuition and mandatory fee free. That's an opportunity that not every student in every state across the country has the chance to do, but Tennessee is really leading the way in the sense that our students do have that opportunity. Every student that applies for Tennessee Promise is paired with a volunteer mentor. One thing we know is that financial support is really critical to student success, but many students need non-financial supports as well. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about here. The volunteer mentor is one of the single biggest ways we support students non-financially as well. We work to support them with those local community supports. Students who apply for Tennessee Promise and receive Tennessee Promise are also required to give back 8 hours of community service for every semester they enroll using the scholarship. It is important to tnAchieves and to the Tennessee Promise program that if the students are going to receive community support to go to college, they're going to receive financial support to go to college, that they have just a little bit of skin in the game. And that's exactly what this community service piece is. We also offer some programs for our students to help them enter college at a more college-ready level, and even to ensure their success once they actually begin their college career. One of these are our summer programs. This is a summer bridge and institute program that we offer at the community colleges across the state. And this is essentially taking some of those academically at-risk students and giving them the chance for 3 to 10 weeks over the summer to brush up on some of those subjects that they might not be as strong in, and ensure that they may have the chance to test out of those subjects, but they also could just have the opportunity to enter college at a more college-ready level. And that's important. Even if it's just a matter of having more confidence when they step into the classroom on day one, that program has been worth it for that student. And we've got some exciting data here in just a few minutes on that program's success. We also identify, again, some of our more economically at-risk students, some of our low-income students, and we pair them with a complete coach on our staff. This is a full-time member of our team who is proactively reaching out to these students throughout their college careers. They're checking in with them once they begin college all the way through until their graduation to make sure that they're not just successful in starting college, but they actually complete the end goal, and that's leaving with a degree or credential in hand. And again, we'll share some data here here in just a few minutes on how this program has been positively impacting students as well. But, it's not just enough to offer kids the chance to go to college for free. It's not just enough to offer them a mentor. We really do work to support students, all around and surround them with support so that they're able to find success in the college going process. I want to speak a little bit now to the program's reach, to tnAchieves' reach. We currently serve 90 counties across the state, 74 of which are considered rural counties. 35 of those are considered at-risk or distressed counties by the Department of Economic and Community Development. We also see that we work with about 600 high schools and 67 colleges. This is kind of the part that I really want to highlight here. 11% of our students are enrolled at a TCAP. That's the Tennessee College of Applied Technology, which is a fantastic opportunity for many students. When we started the program, this number was about 8%. So we've certainly seen some increases here, but we would love to see this increase even more, because what those TCAPs provide our students the chance to do is get a credential, get some work experience, and enter the workforce fairly quickly after their college or their high school graduation experience. 79% of our students enroll at a community college, and 10% enroll at a 4-year college pursuing an associate's degree. So certainly community colleges are the popular choice here among students, but we're seeing increases in the TCAT space, and we hope to see that increase even further in the future. I want to speak now to kind of, again, the scope of our work and how many students we're able to impact each and every year. And then right after this, we'll kind of pivot into some more local data in Cannon County. Each year, we have the opportunity to serve about 60,000 high school seniors. 89% of all Tennessee high school seniors are tnAchieves students at some point. That's a lot of students that we're able to impact each and every year. 78% of first-time freshmen at Tennessee community colleges are tnAchieves students, and 86% of all community college graduates in Tennessee are tnAchieves students. So what we're seeing there is tnAchieves students are making up significant portions of certainly the college's freshman classes, but also the students who are finishing their career and getting that degree or credential after 2 years. So certainly love to see our students making those positive strides in their college career. Speaking specifically to kind of some demographic data on our students, 56% of our students are eligible for federal financial aid, meaning they tend to fall into that low income category. 40% are first generation college students, and then 51% of our students are going to major in science or STEM related fields. $32 million is the annual cost for Tennessee Promise scholarships. But one thing I really want to highlight here is this $2.5 million. This is the annual tnAchieves operating cost. And when you consider that each and every year we're able to work with 89% of high school seniors across the state, that's a pretty good cost. We'll take that in terms of the cost to impact that many students. So far, are there any questions on the data or anything I presented so far before I kind of pivot into some Cannon County data?
There's something that just jumped out to me as you were showing this. If 89% of all Tennessee high school seniors are tnAchieves students, but only 56 are eligible for federal financial aid, that seems like, I don't know if it's a significant difference, but I wonder if there needs to be more emphasis on completing the FAFSA and showing students and parents how to complete that FAFSA, and maybe that number would go up.
It's not necessarily that they aren't completing the FAFSA. That 56% isn't saying that they are or are not filing the FAFSA. What that's saying is they file the FAFSA, and then whether or not they get a Pell Grant, essentially, or whether or not they're actually getting federal aid. Does that make sense?
So 56% of those that do complete the FAFSA are eligible, right?
Yes, exactly. Are receiving some form of federal financial aid. Yes. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So do we know what percentage of students are completing the FAFSA and what percentage aren't?
Yes, that is segue right to my next slide. Look at that. That's perfect. Yes. So in 2021, 86% of students statewide filed their FAFSA. In Cannon County, that number was 68%. So certainly there's an opportunity there to get more students locally to file the FAFSA. One thing I would share as we talk about this is certainly 2021 presented new challenges in getting the Fafsa filed, but our team is always happy to help coordinate Fafsa filing days, virtual or in person. We're happy to provide any resources to local counselors, local individuals that we can to help get that number up. But, we do see that about 86% statewide is filing the Fafsa. Is that helpful?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Yeah, no, I totally see where that question came up though. Looking at community service as well, like we said, every semester students are required to complete 8 hours of community service. Locally, that's amounted to almost 6,000 hours of community service completed in Cannon County. Statewide, we've got over 3.3 million hours of community service completed since the program's inception. So, we love to see students out there giving back a little bit to their community. And I think that's a piece of this program that doesn't necessarily get a ton of buzz, a lot of conversation, but frankly, having students out there giving back in their community, committing 8 hours, likely even at a higher rate than they would be otherwise, is certainly a nice win from this program. A little more specific to Cannon County as well, as we look at the number of students who have applied for Tennessee Promise, that's about 130 last year. The number of students enrolled with Tennessee Promise is 45. And the real big wins here are around retention and graduation, because Cannon County students are retaining at a rate about 6% higher than their peers than their statewide peers than the statewide average. The 3-year graduation rate in Cannon County is 11 points higher than their peers, or than the statewide average, excuse me. So really big wins locally there. To see your students staying in college, to see them graduating is ultimately what this program is all about. And we hope to see those students coming back to Cannon County and lending their skills and lending that education in the community. As you can see statewide too, retention and graduation is being positively impacted by Tennessee Achieves programs. Students who are Tennessee Achieves students enrolling at a Tennessee Promise eligible institution retain at a rate about 14% higher than their peers who are not receiving, not part of the Tennessee Achieves program. Students enrolled at any college are about 21 points more likely to retain. And even in graduation, the really important statistics, Tennessee Achieves students at community colleges are graduating at a rate 16 points higher than their non-Tennessee Achieves peers. So what these statistics just show is that when a student is part of these programs, when they're receiving Tennessee Promise, they're able to focus on what really does matter as a college student. And that's going to class, it's staying in class, and it's using on-campus resources and those sort of things to be a successful college student. And a couple other ways we're working to support students in realizing that goals are those programs that I mentioned earlier. We've got those summer programs. We've got that complete coaching program where we're taking some of those economically at-risk students and proactively coaching them during their college career. And the data shows these programs are positively impacting student retention. For example, a student participating in our summer programs is 34% more likely to retain from their first year to their second year than a peer who does not. A student who has a complete coach is 23% more likely to retain. I mean, those students traditionally are not, they're less likely to retain. So seeing that positive swing is certainly a good thing. We also have a newer program called Knox Promise. This is a program that's made available through some local dollars in Knox County that provides coaching for all students in Knox County, as well as some additional financial support should they need it. And those students are 42% more likely to retain. So like I said, we're not just working on offering community supports. We're not just working on offering scholarship supports. We're working to develop new programs to positively impact students statewide in Cannon County and really however we can. But as we look ahead, this is really kind of the thing I want to highlight here today, and I'm seeing some faces that agree with me here. We had made some significant progress in college going across the state. As you can see on this chart on the left-hand side, since the introduction of Tennessee Promise in 2014, it had consistently grown. But the pandemic has just created immense obstacles to students enrolling in college. As you can see statewide, we saw about a 5% dip in college going last year. In Cannon County, we saw about a 15% dip in college going. And that's just the reality of students facing a huge obstacle, not just enrolling in college, but in managing everything to do with high school graduation and life in general. And this is really the call to action. We want to make sure that we don't continue to trend downward. We want to make sure to continue to swing this graph back in the other direction. And frankly, we need your help to do that. One of the single biggest ways we think we can positively impact students, and we think we can positively impact college going in our communities, is through local supports. Each and every year, as I'm sure many of you are familiar, we recruit more than 9,000 local volunteer mentors to support students in the college going process. Mentorship makes a difference for those students who may otherwise be on the fence about going to college, who may otherwise be on the fence about the entire process of a post-secondary credential. Mentoring in 2022 is going to look a lot like it has in the past, with a few subtle differences, or a few slight differences, I suppose. We're going to ask mentors to continue to reach their students via text, Tennessee Achieves Connect, our virtual mentoring platform, as well as calling, whatever really works there. And then we're going to ask mentors to meet with their students. We're going to provide them an option, though, to meet in person or virtual. And we're going to be sharing a lot more on what this looks like in the future, but we are going to provide some meeting locations, some open house style sessions where mentors and students can gather together and get to know each other, because we know that initial contact is such a critical piece of a positive mentorship experience. The role is still going to take just 12 hours per year. And as we always have, we're going to ask that our mentors serve 3 critical roles: being a task manager, being a resource, and being an encourager. Students need reminders. They need information to meet requirements and stay on top of their college enrollment journey. That's where that task manager role comes into play. Students need someone they can trust to go to when they have questions. Many of our students will be the first in their family to go to college, and they need just a little bit of extra guidance along the way. That's where that resource piece comes into play. But ultimately, I think the encourager role is the most important role that our mentors serve. Our team is there to help with those questions. We're going to send reminders, and mentors are important in that space as well. But ultimately, speaking specifically to the communities we serve, only a local mentor can provide encouragement and really personal support to students that we just can't, serving 60,000 students each and every year. So that's why I always reflect on the encourager piece as the most vital role that our mentors serve, because it's a role we just can't replace. In Cannon County this year, we need 20 mentors. And certainly, if you would like to join us as a mentor, if you're currently serving as a mentor and would like to continue, we would love to have you back, because the data I've just shown, the progress we've made, whether it's in retention, whether it's in graduation, even in just all of those community service hours submitted, that doesn't happen if not for mentors. We don't get to a point where we're serving more than 440,000 students if not for 9,000 volunteers each and every year. So we encourage you to join us by December 3rd, 2021, and help us meet this local need and help us meet that statewide demand of 9,000 mentors. But certainly there's other ways that you can engage with Tennessee Achieves and support our efforts in the community. Obviously, becoming a mentor is a big one. But if you know of any local organizations that might be interested in hearing this local data update and hearing the Tennessee Achieves story, let us know. Send an email to mentors@tnAchieves.org. Because a big part of Tennessee Achieves' success and our ability to get the word out is the support from individuals like you who are willing to connect us to those organizations and help to get this word out, not just about the Tennessee Promise Scholarship, but the opportunities to volunteer. And that brings me to my final point. Just tell a friend about Tennessee Promise. If you know a student who's getting ready for their senior year, tell them about Tennessee Promise. Make sure they're getting their application in. If you know someone who's looking for a way to volunteer, give back to their community, let them know about the mentoring role, because word of mouth is one of the single best ways we can recruit mentors and we can meet this need each and every year. We can send out emails, we can send out information, but the personal testimonials of those who have connected with our program in the past and engaged with us, those just can't be replaced. So please send an email to mentors@tnachieves.org if you have any questions or if we can do anything to help as you work to engage in your community. But I do just want to wrap up again by thanking you. Thanks for hopping on today, hearing this local data update, but I recognize many of the names on here today as those who have served as mentors, helped to connect us with local opportunities. And we really do appreciate it, because, this success, the growth we've had in Cannon County, but also just across the state, it doesn't happen if not for groups like this hopping on a call, this morning. So we really do appreciate it. And you can see my contact information on the screen. So if there's ever anything I can do to help, just reach out. But at this point, if you have any questions, please let me know.
Tyler, this is Freddie Curtis, Director of Schools. I want to thank Tennessee Promise for tnAchieves for working with us over the years. And I look at the results of hours that are, 5,000 some odd hours that have been done by our students. And I think about the good that they have done here in Cannon County locally. So, and that probably wouldn't be happening without Tennessee Promise. So, but it gives our students interaction with the community, which I think is vital. One of the things that's a little concerning to me is the Fafsa completion rate ours was like 68.5%, and the state is 86. That gives me something to go back and look at to see why that is. And two, the only other thing I wish that a lot of our students go to Middle Tennessee State University and also go to Tennessee Tech as our two biggest colleges that really are very active here in Cannon County. And I just wish that the four-year colleges would be getting on board to do a similar for Tennessee Promise. That would help those students that want to begin in the four-year program as in juxtaposition to the community college, which most of our students attend Motlow. And we have a great relationship with Motlow from our dual enrollment program all the way up to the help with Tennessee Promise. So, but still, that relationship is good with TCAT. Our relationship between the McMinnville campus and the Murfreesboro Smyrna campuses is very, very good. So I try to encourage those that are going on to TCAT to take advantage of this. I mentor, believe it or not, most of mine are TCAT students, and which is great. I've loved it. It's given and I'm also on the TCAT board in McMinnville, so it gives me some opportunity to tell them this is what our students is doing, and we're doing some partnerships with TCAT right now to bring some things to Cannon County and working in our own high school, and so that's been good. But I'm telling everybody, hey, don't just think this is for college kids. This is for you that are going to TCAT also. So that's something I think we need to press on even more here in Cannon County.
Yeah, I mean, to see that number increase is good, but we want to see that number increase even more, because that TCAT route it's a great route for students. And there's some great programs on those campuses. So we'd certainly love to see even more students take advantage of it, going that route. But it sounds like you got a lot of good things going there.
And there's a little fallacy, I think, too, that, FAFSA is just for college. No, it's for TCAT too. I mean, if you're thinking about any kind of vocational school, whether you're going to Lincoln or you're going to Nashville Auto, Diesel, or whatever, you need to do that FAFSA. I don't care. Even if you're going to the military, do the FAFSA anyway, or whatever you're doing. You're thinking, well, I don't need to do that. Do it anyway.
Yeah,
that's the phrase I'm trying to get seniors to understand. And but I appreciate the partnership that you guys have with us.
Yeah, we appreciate all the support. Alicia,
and our new committee, this recording, I'm gonna make it available, get this available to them. A couple of business leaders had other obligations today, but I want to do that for our county executive and also the chairman of the county commission. Those are great guys and great supporters, and we want them involved and to help us recruit more, the 20 mentors that we need for Cannon County.
Yeah, absolutely. We can get you the recording. We're going to process them this week. We'll get it to you as soon as we can, so you can get it out to them for sure. We're excited to have some new faces on board.
One thing that when it comes to MTSU and tech, I'm an academic advisor at MTSU. So I work with a lot of students that started at Motlow or Columbia State using the tnAchieves, but then they use the transfer pathway program. And I think that's really important to share with our seniors, that you can get a 4-year degree. So start within I think we really need to encourage those Tennessee transfer pathway programs that show the 2 years at the community college and it transfers directly into that 4-year program. And there are scholarships available. At MTSU, they're guaranteed scholarships, and I'm pretty sure Tech probably has something similar. But I think when I first started mentoring, I had a lot of students on my list saying they were going to MTSU. And so I had to say, okay, here's what we need to do. Look at these colleges. And then I showed them the Tennessee transfer pathway programs, and they were like, oh, okay, this makes sense. I can get that 4-year degree. So I know with even second and third year students here at the university, it's little bits and pieces at a time, but I think sharing that information with them early on will help with those pathways. And perhaps even with the trade schools, just even with, there are a bunch from there are a bunch of graduates from Cannon County. So maybe even having their testimonials in the school. So like that first day of school when students go through and they just meet with each teacher for a short period of time, maybe even starting a little bit earlier and having maybe a mandatory FAFSA time. And then perhaps just, hey, here's what Tennessee Achieves is, here's what you can do with it. With the have recent graduates come back and talk about their experience using Tennessee Achieves at one of the trade schools, and then even explaining those pathways.
And we're doing that also, Alicia, thank you for that, with our CTE program. We're doing that partnership with the TCAT program for them to bring our recent grads in and to talk about what the opportunities. And you talk about the pathway, we're starting even earlier with our even freshmen and sophomores, getting them involved in our dual credit program, AP program, and getting those involved for, you can earn college credit when you're a freshman, literally. And so I think the earlier the better. So thank you for your partnership at MTSU. We're very fortunate to have them, your campus, 20 minutes away from us. And it's great to have those partners with us in the journey and trying to keep those students heading your way as well as to Tennessee Tech. Both of you have been great working with us. Joe Bales with the foundation program, Vice President Bales, and recently got in touch with me in regard to our own Cannon County scholarship that goes to MTSU, the Jim Cummings scholarship that's exclusive to MTSU. I had one apply. They got the whole scholarship. We gave the whole scholarship to them because they met the goals, and we said, okay, you get the whole thing. And so we're working there and trying to spread that out. So, but Tennessee Promise is all a part of that. And it's great. I had 4 sons, and they all say, yeah, this came around too late for us. It's the problem with that. But I thank y'all very much for the information given today.
Yeah, well, thank you all for hopping on. I mean, this conversation has been great. And like I said, my contact information is on the screen. So if you think of any ideas, you think of anything we can do to help, just reach out because we're always happy to. All right. Any other questions or anything? Otherwise, I'll go ahead and wrap up our meeting.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for hopping on. We hope you have a great day.
You too.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.